In this lecture, we're going to be talking about shape fundamentals. Now, shapes are the next important part in the drawing fundamental pyramid. And basically everything is made up of simple shapes. And these shapes can be broken down into two parts, geometric shapes and organic shapes. And all these shapes are made out of line, which is why line is the most important thing, is because everything is made up of line, including shapes. But the thing is that they kind of go hand in hand together. They're kind of the same thing. So line is used to create shapes, and shapes are created out of lines. So just go ahead and grab a brush, and we're going to go ahead and just start drawing out some simple shapes. So the first shape we have the square. So the square is just a square. So all the sides are the same. Everybody knows what a square is. Then we have a circle. Then we have the triangle. Then we have a trapezoid. And we also get a rectangle, which kind of goes hand in hand with the square. All right, great. So basically everything can be made up out of these shapes. And we can also add organic shapes, but for the most part, when we're doing under drawings or the base drawings, we want to start by blocking out our basic shapes. And we're going to create those out of one of these 5 shapes here. Now these shapes can kind of be changed. So for example, the square can be turned to be more of a diamond. Or we can even go ahead and take that shape and we can stretch it out more. So it's more of a stretched diamond. The circle can be turned into an oval. The triangle can be stretched out more. Or we can even change the angle. So we can have kind of a right angle right here and then have smaller angles over there. The trapezoid can be stretched out as well. Or we can even have one side like that and the one side more straight like this, which is still a trapezoid. And the rectangle can be all different types of sizes as well. So as you can see, they can all be changed quite a bit. So you're not just stuck to these forms right here or these shapes. You can stretch them out, you can squash them, you can change some of the angles, but these are still the basic shapes that you're going to be making all of your under drawings out of. Now these are all geometric shapes, but we also have organic shapes. Organic shapes are usually created from geometric shapes, but sometimes you can just go right into your drawing and draw more organic shapes. An organic shape would be something, let's say for example, like an apple. So something like that. That could be an organic shape. Another example of an organic shape could just be something kind of squiggly. I'm not sure what this is a silhouette of, but you can see that that's very organic. And the biggest thing that really determines whether something is an organic shape or a geometric shape is whether it's symmetrical or not. So for example, I can go ahead and put a dotted line right down the center of this rectangle, and on both sides it looks the same. Same with right here, same with on the triangle, same with all of these. But the thing is that even though some of these, so for example, this one right here, this kind of breaks the rule. That's not the exact same on both sides. So the rule doesn't apply all the time, but that's basically the rule of thumb, is that if it can't be symmetrical, then it's basically organic. If it has a lot of curved lines in it that are going in opposite directions and you can't actually put a line through it that makes it symmetrical on both sides of that line, then it's not really symmetrical. So these are organic shapes. Now let's have a look at how we would draw a drawing and then turn that into more of an organic shape. So let's say, for example, that we're drawing a cat. We could draw an oval like this. We could draw a circle up here for the head. So just with simple shapes, we're already drawing in a head, a body. We can go ahead and put in some rectangles here for legs, like that. 2 little circles down here for feet. We can do another oval here for the back leg. And then an oval here for the back foot. And we'll go ahead and add in a tail there. And then we'll go ahead and connect these with a line. And now by connecting all this with lines, we're starting to smooth it into more of an organic shape. You can add some triangles here for ears. And there you go. We have a nice simple cat drawing now, and that was all created just by using these 5 shapes up here. And then from there, we went ahead and we connected them with lines to create more of organic shapes. So now let's have a look at some images and let's see if we can break them down into their simple geometric forms. So right here, I have a drawing of Mickey Mouse. Now this is the best example because Mickey Mouse was designed, at least the original one, was designed to be as simple as possible. And the reason for this is because he had to be animated very fast for his cartoon shorts by the animators. And the way they could animate so quickly was that Mickey Mouse could be drawn by using just pennies and dimes and stuff like that to draw out his circles. So we have the circles for the ears, the head. It's almost all circles and a few straight lines. It's incredibly simple to draw. So let's go ahead and let's break him down. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select a red color just so this really stands out so you can see it. So his head, for example, is just one big red circle. Well, it's not a red circle, but I'm drawing a red circle. His nose is just a simple oval. And the tip of his nose, his actual nose, I guess that's his snout. His actual nose is also an oval. His eyes are ovals. This is just a nice curved line like that. We won't get too much into that detail. Let's keep it really simple. We got another oval here. We got a circle back here for that ear, a circle here for that ear, and just a simple straight line like this. Basically just a rectangle for that hat. And then on the top, it's broken up into basically two circles. So we got a circle there, and we got a circle there. And then we just have straight lines. It's just incredibly simple straight lines. For the arms, nothing crazy, and then just circles for the hands. And then for the body, we basically, it's either just a rectangle or sort of an oval shape. So I'm going to go with more of an oval shape. And you'll see that a lot of these shapes are overlapping, and that's okay. When you're drawing, you're going to have a lot of overlapping geometric shapes. You actually want that. That's good. Then we have another circle here just for his body. So as you can see, as we start to draw this, you can see how simple this probably was. Not trying to say that it wasn't easy for them to animate or that it wasn't hard for them to animate, but you can see that it was probably a lot more simple for them to animate because all they had to do is draw these circles, which in many of these cases, they're able to just put down a coin and trace it, which allowed them to draw Mickey Mouse very quickly and easily and animate him into different poses. So then when we get down here, we just kind of get an oval for that shape right there, top of his shoe. And then his shoe is just kind of a basic rectangle, honestly. And then you could go back in and add in that detail. And we'll actually make this part kind of more of an oval. We'll break it up. So maybe the tip will be more of an oval, and this back part will be more rectangular like that. All right, so there's Mickey Mouse broken down into his simple shapes. Let's go ahead and have a look at another example. So right here we have a landscape. So this applies to everything. Every image, every drawing can be broken down into these simple geometric shapes. So with this mountain range, all we have to do is we basically just want to break it up into its simplest form. So I'm seeing just one big triangle shape right here for this big mountain plain. We can even add a little bit of curve to that. It doesn't have to be a completely straight triangle. And then we get this one over here. And we could actually even break this up into two shapes. We could have a triangle up here, and then we can have more of a trapezoid shape down here. And then we'll just add in some simple lines like that because we can't actually see the edge of this entire shape. This is just a nice, simple triangle, just like that. And as you can see, it's being overlapped by this one, so we don't have to draw this line coming all the way down like that. We can just have it covered up. Then we have all these guys back here, which are just overlapping one over the other. And then we get our horizon line down here, and we can just draw a straight line for that. So we don't have to get into all this detail of every tree. If you wanted to, you could draw a simple shape for each one because they're probably all triangles or circles or something like that. Some of them look like they're round, some of them look like they're pine trees, which typically are triangles. But you can see that it's just basically one straight line for that horizon line. So as we get down more into this area, it becomes more detailed. So we can go ahead and do things like this. We can go ahead and draw a circle there for that tree. Maybe a little rectangle for the base of it, another one right there. We could do a little one right there. I'm not going to worry about these further back ones. I'm not going to worry about that too much, but I will do it for these guys that are closer up towards the foreground. And we kind of get another line right here. So go ahead and draw that out. But you can see that if you were to draw this, it might be easier if you were to just break it up into simple geometric shapes first as your underdrawing, and then go in and start adding detail and painting on top of that. Let's have a look at one more example. So this is a little bit more complicated because it's an actual human form. Let's go ahead and zoom in. And let's start with the head. So for the head, and maybe I'll bring my brush size up just a little bit. For the head, it's basically just going to be a circle like that for the top part of the skull, and then we'll just kind of get a triangle that comes off for the chin. The neck is basically just a rectangle, and it's being covered up by the head, so we can't really see it. So we just have to kind of draw that corner out right there. And then when we get to the arms, we basically just get some nice, simple rectangular shapes. So I want to keep this very simple. When you actually draw the drawing of a person, you may block it out with simple shapes like this, but you'll have to go back and really define those lines and define a lot of those curves and stuff like that. So these shapes don't actually confine you to this exact line right here. So for example, right there, that line is not the exact line that you have to stick with the entire time. This is just an underdrawing to really block out the pose. That's what we would use these shapes for. For right here, I'm just going to do a simple circle or oval just like that. We can just do a line for this smoke stick that she's holding. Then over here we'll do her shoulder, so we just kind of get a rectangle right there for the upper part of the arm, and then the forearm we get this sort of, it's more of a trapezoid than a rectangle because it tapers in towards the end. And then right here I'm going to break this up into, let's say, kind of a diamond shape, and then I'll do this shape for the tip of her fingers. And maybe I'll bring this size of my brush down so we can see a little bit better. All right, now let's go ahead and do her chest. So for her chest, I kind of see a trapezoid shape, so we'll just break it out like a trapezoid shape like that for the top part. And then a trapezoid shape for the bottom part, which kind of goes in the opposite direction. And we can't see her body underneath her dress, so let's go ahead and add the dress to the geometric shape. So we're just going to basically break this dress down into a simple trapezoid shape like this. So even though we get like a nice curve down here at the bottom, we're just going to leave that out for now because we're just trying to simplify it. When we're doing our underdrawings and we're doing our shape drawings, we just want to keep it very simple. We're using this to make sure that things like the balance of our character, the person we're drawing, is correct, and making sure that our proportions are correct, and making sure that our composition looks good. That's what we want to do when we're drawing our geometric shape drawings. We don't want to get into detail or anything like that. We just want to really block it out nice and simple. So we kind of get a trapezoid shape for this part of the leg, which comes down into the calf, which kind of turns into its own trapezoid shape, going out in the opposite direction, which then turns into another trapezoid shape going back in the other direction. Then we get the foot, which is, I'm kind of seeing a triangle there, and then a rectangle right there, and then sort of a rectangle or trapezoid shape right there. So there you go. We just broke a human up into very simple geometric shapes. So what I want you to do now is I want you to go out and find 3 photographs that you find interesting, or it can even be paintings or art that you really like and that you want to learn how to draw or paint. And what I want you to do is import those images into Photoshop, and on top of them, I want you to do what I just did and break them down into their simple shapes. This will really start training your mind to view things as simple shapes rather than really complex structures and really complex lines. Thanks for watching this lecture, and I'll see you in the next one.